Hello everyone, and welcome to another Star Wars figure review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Nunb, I think that's how you say it. He's a Celestin, and most notably everyone knows him from Return of the Jedi, when he was aboard the Millennium Falcon, and his task was to help Lando as co-pilot to help blow up the second Death Star. Really cool figure. I've always loved vintage figures, and before I kind of dive into the specific figure, I'm going to just kind of review some of the more typical things that you see out of the vintage figures. So obviously Kenner made vintage figures starting in 1978 all the way up until 1985, but the things that I point out are only common in the figures spanning from 1978 until 1983, when the Return of the Jedi line came out. Actually 1984, because the second series of Return of the Jedi figures came out in 84. So as you can see, there's the silver banding that kind of goes around the whole figure, and inside the silver banding is the large photo, which I love. I mean, you know, the Legacy line today tries to have a relatively large photo. The Power of the Force 2 line had, you know, the little photo in the left-hand corner. You know, other lines have tried to replicate it, but I just love the large image, and I think it makes for a great background. And then of course you'll have either Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi inside of the banding, and then obviously the character name, the character in the lower left hand corner, and the Kenner logo kind of in the lower middle. The backs really vary, except for each one has a barcode. Let's get that closer so you guys can see. Each one has a barcode, but today we're used to the barcode having two purposes, one for scanning and one for proof of purchase. But back in the day it was just a barcode. And then to the right of that you can see the proof of purchase, and that's important to note because a lot of conditions are greatly affected when the proof of purchase is cut out. And that, you'd be surprised, that was pretty common because there were a lot of mail away offers and stuff for figures. And this particular figure is a 65 back. As you can see, it says collect all 65 action figures. And the smaller the number is, the more typically the more expensive the figure is. So they started with 12 backs, there's 21 backs, stuff like that, and this is a 65. So for the most part, Return of the Jedi figures were relatively affordable, and that's probably the main reason why I have 9 Nunb. So let's dive into the figure. One more thing to note, I have it in a star case. Really recommend these. They're about $1, $1.50, and they really help protect your figures. I don't have them for all of mine, but I use them more for my more prized possessions. So here's Nunb. Sorry I'm pronouncing his name wrong. But let's go into the sculpt of this guy. He has amazing detail for the time period, and I think for the most part Kenner had really gotten some good detail on their figures by 1983. You can see all the flaps and the folds over his mouth of skin. His eyes are well detailed. The little hat that goes over his ears and his head is very well detailed. I like the vest, the jumpsuit, the gloves, the boots, all very good detail, and the little blaster down here is also very cool. That's one thing that Kenner still had really yet to accomplish until 1995, when the Power of the Force 2 line came out, was the blasters and other accessories really weren't very true to the movie. They used more of an artistic license. but as you can also note on this figure, the carding is really messed up. There's that huge crease down the, horizontally down the side, and there's a small vertical one too. So I bought it, and the people I bought it from said it was about a C5. I would say that would be a little generous, but I'll just have to agree with them. The bubble is in great condition though. No dents or anything. And one thing to note too, a lot of the vintage figures get yellow bubbles. The bubbles start to kind of deteriorate after a while, but this one is still clear, so that's a good sign. One other thing that I want to do is just to demonstrate this figure's detail is put a Power of the Force 2 Nunb next to him. So as you can see, I'll let you guys decide, sorry, but I think the detail is really great on the 1983 Nunb, and this isn't a discredit to Kenner in the Power of the Force 2 line. I just think it's a credit to the Return of the Jedi figures and how detailed they are. So that's pretty cool. But very great figure. Really enjoyed purchasing it a few years back, and I really recommend any collectors who don't have many vintage figures. I know that are pretty expensive and hard to afford. There's some of the Boba Fett's that go for like $3,000 a pop and stuff. But I would say Return of the Jedi is kind of your solution, because I would say for the most part they're under $100, which is saying something for vintage figures. So for now, that's all I have. Hope you enjoyed this figure review, and I'll get back to you guys soon. Thanks.